Do you want to make money and help others at the same time? Well, I've done that with my company, Outsourcing Angel, and you can do it too. By building a business that creates a positive impact in the world, you get so excited to wake up every day and work hard because you're on a bigger mission than just making money. Hi, it's Limpadetti here, and in this video, you will meet my client, Colin J. DeMers, owner of the Century House Hotel, Restaurant and Conference Center in Latham, New York, who has developed a sustained giving model for his hotel and restaurant. He named the program Enjoy One, Share One. Very simply, for every meal served at his hotel, one would be provided through the regional food bank. He just sends the monetary equivalent to the number of meals he serves each month to the food bank. He and his guests and team also prepare, cook and serve at various soup kitchens each month in his community. This sustained giving, profit by giving business model has developed into the core of his business brand and is also the title of his upcoming book. Colin is going to show you what this profit by giving model is all about, which will inspire you to think of an idea for your business. Hi, Colin. So good to have you here.
Oh, well, hello. How are you, Lynn? Greetings from upstate New York.
Greetings back to you all the way in Sydney, and it's 5 a.m. here, it's 3 p.m. in your city, and I love that we can still connect and create such an, hopefully a really amazing content together on a topic that we both love as well. Before meeting you, my team member said you should talk to Colin because he's such a kind person, but he's also doing social, good stuff in the world, right? Because at OA, we obviously try to help people in the Philippines, and they said you should talk to Colin because he's also helping people in America. And I said, cool. And I'm so glad that we got speaking. And this is why today I wanted you to share your experience and how you turned your hotel business into doing good. And it just means that everyone can do something about their business to do good. So Colin, let us know more about your business and how you got into thinking about how to actually impact the world positively.
Well, thank you very much, Lynn. And your staff is terrific. And I'm so glad that they brought us together. It's just amazing how small the world is today. But here we are. This is my 37th year in hospitality. And I own and operate a hotel, restaurant, and conference center in upstate New York between Albany, which is the capital in New York, and Saratoga Springs, which a lot of people know because of its historical thoroughbred racehorse track. And again, in doing this for so long, in the recession of 2008, I just found that people were really devastated. That was the whole real estate bubble. Everyone's talking COVID now, but if you go back to 2008, it was a real tough impact on a lot of people. And I was worried. It was 200,000 people a month in the States that were losing their jobs. Just that devastating. And I was just trying to figure it out. Like, a couple that was in at the restaurant had said to me, "Boy, we're here and we're having dinner, but we feel guilty. We're out and all these people are losing their jobs. Some people are losing their homes. And here I am having dinner. I just feel awkward." And that just resonated with me, right? And we've always been a philanthropic organization, but that just haunted me. And when I went home that night, I ended up tuning into a PBS public broadcasting special on Tom shoes. If yes. You're familiar,
yes, I know
right?
Tom shoes, yes.
With Blake McCoskey, and I'm watching the whole thing, and I just think, wow, would it be possible to bring that into hospitality industry, right? Because he makes the espadrille shoes, and then third world children get a pair for each one he sells. He has the trademark 1-for-1 model. Thought about it. Then I reached out to our local regional food bank, and I talked to them and I said, look, people are just getting killed out there. I'm looking at doing something. I know it's crazy. And at that time, believe it or not, they didn't have a handle on what it cost to feed someone in our Tri-County area a meal right through the food bank. So I worked with them for a couple of weeks to come up with a dollar amount that it would take to actually feed someone a meal. And then, of course, with the recession on, I do have two partners, and I go to them and I say, I've got this brilliant idea. Everyone's going down, their businesses are failing, but we're going to give away a meal for every meal we serve at our restaurant and hotel, right? It's brilliant. But it was a leap of faith, and I just felt like this was the time, and it just meant something to me. me. It spoke something to me. And immediately I just felt the energy around it. And so working with the food bank, I developed this whole system. I felt that it had to be tangible. So what we did is I created a spreadsheet and I counted every breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And at the end of each month, we calculated the number of people that came into the restaurant and hotel, and I sent a check to cover feeding that same number of people. Now, in addition to that, I felt that we needed more and the staff needed more. So we put together a program where we'd go to a soup kitchen, a community kitchen each month, and we'd cook and serve restaurant food for people in need. And that has just been amazing. I mean, the connection is just incredible. And matter of fact, on the first time that we went out, there was a gentleman that came in, and I had recognized him from years and years ago when I first started in the early 80s. He used to come in every Sunday dinner. His father had passed, but he and his mother had come to Sunday dinner, same table, same time. And he was there, and I started talking to him, and I just thought how great it was for him to volunteer, until I found out that his mother had passed. He had fallen on hard times, and he was there having a meal. And this is someone that had supported our organization for years. And on that first outing, here I was giving back to him in particular. It just changed me personally, and it changed my business. Since then, in 2009, we've provided over 1 million meals. And I can't tell you how much it means to the staff and to the community. I can't have a bad day. A bad day for me is I'm providing 200 meals to somebody in need, right? It just changes your whole outlook on how you operate the business. And that's why I'm so excited to share with you today and to others that are running their businesses, right? And single moms running their businesses, that I know that you have a thought for your business, but this is another way to look at it. I would encourage people to explore it.
Yeah, because I remember when I originally kind of partnered with someone to work with on OA, and the portion of our business was charity, and we donated money. And when things got tough, he kind of said, we got to stop giving money away. We should just take care of ourselves. And I remember going, no, it just feels wrong. It's like, I know that the more you give them, the more you can never outgive the universe, right? And I'm so glad that I stuck through that. And obviously our partnership didn't really last because our values were very different. But I would say, like you said, it really makes me motivated to wake up every day, because my business is tied up to doing something good. And then the staff, we attract a lot of people coming in because they want to work for a company that is doing good. And clients, we attract, because of our mission, are better clients too, because they believe in the same value. And so what would you say along the lines of, people go, but I need the money for my business first, or I don't have money to give yet, like maybe later, right? But I think later never really comes. But yeah, can you give a little bit of context around that?
I would say to them, if you're concerned about profit, you can profit by giving. And what I would say to people that really question me, they're trying to drill down on what I'm doing. How did I do it for 10 years, the success of the program, and I tell them, look, if you don't come from a philanthropic mindset, look at it as marketing. What are you spending on marketing, right? Put this into it, if you really want to look there. But I'll tell you right away, they only do that for a short time before they realize just all the emotional benefits for not only themselves, their customers, but their employees. So sure, you take that mindset of marketing if you need to generate where you're going to be.
Yeah. And tell me more about the book, because I think the thing you just said, profit or something, is that the title of your book? Because you did mention to me you wrote a book. Yeah.
It is, but I'm embarrassed to say that I wrote the book over 5 years, right? In between trying to run a hospitality business in today's world. And I struggled a lot with it in how to convey that message. And I came up with that title because it really has to be a win-win. There can't be giving back if someone's not getting something in the first place, right? And it's okay, but I did struggle with that. I grew up Catholic. I went to all Catholic schools, and I can still, the lovely nuns that taught me over all the years, don't be boastful about your giving, right? That's just drilled into you. And I certainly agree with that, but I've created a business structure that is giving back. If I succeed, then the people in need receive a meal. How great is that? So they're really intertwined, and I feel really good about it personally now. And I would encourage others that you don't have to keep it a secret. And as a matter of fact, if you do something like that, like Tom's Shoes did, he motivated me to do something into the hospitality world, which people thought it could never happen.
Yeah, well, deep into that for me, because I know that I do have that worry where I'm like, well, I didn't start off as a non-profit organization. I'm in a business and I love giving it back. But I also have this fear of like, I don't want to be boastful, like it's all about charity and everything else. And we always get two minds around that, like, do we hone in as, yeah, we're outsourcing and we do a bit of charity, or it's kind of being proud that it's really immersed, right? And how do you get around that worry?
One thing, and I guess it's a little secret, but it would be in the book too, is I came up with what I call a book of giving. And I searched, and now I'm a tangible business, right? The people are actually in here, but you could do this online. I went out and I found an Italian firm that had the big old books like the monks used to have with the big leather covers. And I put embossed on the front of that, the book of giving. And we present it to our clients and customers, and we invite them to sign because we're giving in their honor. Everything that I talk about is in their honor. So it's not my Century House, my hotel and restaurant. It's not Colin. It's in your honor. We're providing a meal to those in need for every meal we serve. And so that's how I view that. And it really does work. But what blew me away is in that book, and which again could be a blog or, online, is people just really shocked me with the amount of people that sometime in their life really struggled. I know how emotional your YouTube video channel is, and I just commend you for it. It really is a terrific story. I was surprised about how many people, right, had reached out and had a need at some time in their life, and people that you would never imagine, right? And it really just struck me and resonated with me, and they put their stories in that book. And that's how I would answer that about not being boastful. It's in their honor, and then you give them a chance to say what it's meant.
The other thing that pops up for me is like, for example, I've thought about in the past where, okay, when you become a client, we're going to be, doing this and give this part to the charity. Another kind of limiting belief or negativity comes out and kind of feels like, will they think that, are kind of like pulling their heartstrings so that they could do business with me? So then hence, because of all that blockage, I end up just really like, as long as they're a client, treat them well. And then it's almost like donating from our profitability to charity, and kind of we never even raised money really. The only time that I raised money was my birthday last year, even though we've been donating for the last 6-7 years or whatever. But it was my birthday last year, and I said, hey guys, instead of giving me a present, I'd like to raise some more money for the charity that we support at OA. And yet it took me so long to actually ask for that kind of help, or relating people to go, if you can help, if you become a client, you do this and we can give that. Because there is some sort of fear there.
There is, particularly when I first started, people were expecting me to ask them for money for it. And it's like, no. That's how it took me to present it in your honor. Like, no. We appreciate you doing business with us. So in your honor, we're doing this, right? And I can't tell you how strong that verbiage is. But yeah, particularly in the beginning, now people are used to us doing it. It's had some press coverage, of course, etc. But they realize we're not asking them for a donation. What I can tell you is that our charity that we work with do get donations, because it just jars in people's heads like, wow, this business is doing this. So they go out on their own and they're giving on their own. So it's another benefit to what you're doing.
Okay. So what you teach is really your model, where it's really like they're getting their deal already anyway. Like they're buying food as they are. But then they know that for every food that they buy, there's a portion that goes to the charity or the help. And so really there's no loss for them. It's actually, you're doing it in honor of them versus asking them. So you're not encouraging going down the path of like, also like, hey, we support this charity and would you like to help and donate there, right? Because they're kind of two separate things.
Right. I just want you you can't build your business around the charity that you give, but it's that one more thing. And it could be that point of uniqueness for your business in what you do. And I think another hook to it that some people miss is, I believe in the tangibility of the giving. The one meal for the one visit and restaurant meal. You know, I've often said to car dealers, like, look, I know a car in the States, right, is 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. But maybe your profit is X. But I don't care what it is, we can find something. Let's say cancer and a cure for cancer. Could you finance an hour of cancer research in this particular area, right? It just changes the way you think about it, because it's not $100 to cancer research. It's you're taking one scientist an hour, right? And because I bought the car from you, that's what I'm doing. So that's where the model, I think, can be very strong also.
Yeah. And then, so all these years, you've also always tracked your numbers as well. Because I think my other challenge is that we give because we just give. It's just our natural love for it. And so we kind of not fuss over like, the accounting everything. But then again, if you're looking in the business sense, if I actually did really put this effort in and count as if I track any KPI, that actually will be great for what clients can see too. Clients will see that, oh my God, OA has given away X amount of meals or do whatever, then it would articulate the message better, and then they would continue to support being a client as well, right?
And yes, and I would say that really surprised me of how much my customers keyed in on how many meals. When we started getting close to the 1 million meal mark at 10 years, all the clients were coming in and they were asking, like, when are you going to did you hit the 1 million? And so we developed, honestly, a party atmosphere about it, where we were going to provide a big meal for the person who was the 1,000,000th meal donated to the regional food bank. And it just became a thing. But beyond us, it was really our clientele was just, they wanted to know. And it was never about the money though, and that was a key too. We weren't talking about how much money that costs us to do it. It's the meal, right? Because at least in the States, right, we always see everybody's holding up a big check. I donated X. That wasn't it at all. It was all about how many meals did someone get in your honor, right? Because you came here.
Yeah.
And that's where the traction came from in that, I think. And again, everything I've learned is trial and error. So it's not like I'm brilliant, okay? I fought my way through this for 10 years, and I'm just telling you best practice based on that.
Yeah. And so when it comes to this portion of the business in terms of helping, how prominent is it on your website? Like, I know Tom's, it's pretty much built around the charity. Like straight away, you can tell it's not just a shoe store. It's like a social impact, a social enterprise store. How about for yourself? Like, how did you kind of balance between the business side and the charity side in terms of presenting it online?
I would say it's less than that. Tom's Shoes developed from the very get-go, right? From the very beginning, he was doing that. As we've adopted it in my website, I'm going after what a hotel, restaurant, and conference center would go after in that message. But then I have tied in about the Enjoy One, Share One program. And even the naming of it is like, enjoy one, but you're sharing one.
Yes.
It's not buy one, get one, right? It's just trying to give a little different experience. Yes. But yeah, it's an integral part of what we do, but we don't present ourselves as a totally social enterprise. And I think that's part of the success of it too. It's just that one extra thing that we do that kind of puts it over the top.
Yeah, lovely. And in terms of choosing who to tie your business with, right? So for me, I kind of stumbled across the opportunity in a sense. One of my staff's cousin is a volunteer who, turned his life around from a criminal, turned into a Christian, to then deciding to create a volunteer group and just doing this mission. And when I was approached with the opportunity to help him, I was like, oh, it sounds right. Let's do it, right? And then for yourself, I know that the global financial crisis was happening, but how did you come across the food bank? And I guess the tip around how do they choose who to align with, right? And it has to make sense. It's like, you might do this, but then all of a sudden you're supporting cancer, but why,
First of all, I think it has to have a personal meaning to the business owner, right? And ideally, it's something that interacts well with the charity. This charity, the Regional Food Bank of Northeastern New York, is who I use. But I have to tell you that I've done a lot of work with them over many decades. I have given them money, but it's money, right? And we would do functions here, or we would do fundraisers for them. But I knew they were run well. And I knew the people, and they had good hearts, and they were it was not just a business of what they're doing. They genuinely were trying to make a difference and do make a difference. And they were just a class organization. So that's why I went to them. And again, I had to work with them to figure out, is this even doable? What are your costs? But in that practice of figuring out what that cost was, that's where I learned that really any company could go to any charity or non-for-profit and drill down and figure out what is something that's, hey, if you can only do 10 cents per whatever you sell or $100, there's something for you that'll make you sleep great at night when you know that you provided one of them or 10 of them or 1,000 of them.
Yeah, amazing. The key takeaway is what's your business about, and then aligning with the right charity, and then doing your research, because you don't want certain charity and just throw your money at them and yet they ran badly, or all the money absorbs into the admin and doesn't actually get to the end person. So I think doing the research is really important. So in terms of your book, I know you said you're going to release it for the end of the year. So what can people expect in the book, or what they can expect to learn from you?
I do it based on an allegory, and it's of a business owner that is struggling at the time, really more mentally, like what else is there in life at that point? And he decides to go off on, I did write it as a he, but because I am, but he goes off at the suggestion of his wife to have a couple of days to really, as a getaway, to kind of get his head together and what does he want to do next and with the business. And that's where he comes to this hotel and restaurant where he discovers this program and then takes that back to his business. So it takes you through all of the steps. Believe it or not, I have 29 different steps that are put into really putting together this social enterprise, as you talk about, whether Tom Shoes calls it the 1-for-1 model, or some people call it the Cause 2.0 right model. But those steps, it'll take you right through. You could read that book as an easy read, but yet it'll take you right through how to bring that into your business successfully, and also not make the mistakes that I learned to avoid.
Yeah. I
paid for the mistakes.
Yeah. Give me just 2 key steps that you found that was really important throughout the 23 process steps. And then I guess 2 mistakes that you've made that we can avoid.
Sure. The biggest one, and I spoke to already, is to present it in their honor. Mm-hmm. Right? So that's a huge takeaway, to make sure that whatever you're doing, it's not you doing it, it's not Lynn doing it, it's in your customer's honor, you're doing this, right? And the other thing is that book of giving, some way for people to express and to almost see individual testimonials of what it means. That takes on a life of its own within your business, creates a great little community within your community. And I think that's very important. Big mistakes, that I've made along the way. Number 1, not talking about it enough, because particularly initially, that guilt would kind of come back to me a little bit like, oh, don't toot my own horn, right? And people wanted to talk about it, and I was pulled back. Don't be reserved about it, because if you are, you're hurting your charity. If you're promoting it, yes, you're helping your business, but you're also helping your charity. And that's a mistake that I've made. And every once in a while, I fall into it. Like, there are times in the beginning, like I might not have done this because I just didn't want to toot my horn or what I thought it was, right? Yeah. That's a big one. And then the other is a mistake that I made is I didn't take it right away into the interview process as much. And very quickly, though, I found when I brought it up in interviewing, people lit up and had questions, and it brought out a lot more in the interview process. There was a connection between the interviewee and my managers or myself and took us in a direction. And you had so much buy-in to that prospective employee based on our social giving. Right? I don't care whether you're a housekeeper or a sales manager. There was a connection there, and it's not a job anymore. It's a career, and you're doing well. And when I tell them I can't have a bad day because I'm providing X amount of meals to somebody who really needs it, it just changes their outlook, and they want to be part of it.
Yeah, so you kind of give people a purpose to wake up every day to work for you. And I get that same feedback from our VAs where they're like, thanks for giving me a purpose, because it's not about the job, it's that they're tied into the mission of the business as well. And so when you're interviewing people, are you just giving a spiel about like, in terms of, this is who we are and this is the charity, how we help? And then how do you know that are you asking them a question around the charity too? As part of your interview process?
I just start to tell the story, and I'll tell that story about that person that I discovered at our very first kitchen. And normally they're interrupting you where they've got a story. If it's, if you're connecting to them at that point, they're going to start telling you how they volunteered for X, Y, and Z. And it almost seems like the walls come down at that point, and you have a much better interview, and you have a much more of a real interview, right? Because with a lot of interviews, everybody's nervous, right? That tends to go away a lot when you break through on that.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I would have guessed that because you've got the philanthropic mindset and culture as directors, you are probably attracting the kind of employees that care about the same values in life too, right?
I'm really blessed with amazing people, particularly over this COVID period. But, I can teach you how to make a drink, make a bed, or check somebody in, right? I can't teach you to be a good person. I can only lead by example. But yes, a lot of great people, just really quality people, are attracted to the Century, I think, by virtue of what we do.
Yeah, like they said, you attract what you are, I think. So yeah. Anyway,
I don't know about that, but
well, thank you, Colin. And how do people get a copy? Like, how will they know when your book is out? How do they connect with you?
Well, if they want to connect with me, it's Colin with one L, COLIN at thecenturyhouse.com. thecenturyhouse.com. I'd be really happy to help them through if they wanted to bring this model into their business and how they could do it, or just answer a question for them. I would love to do it and make the world a better place by, just making that social entrepreneurship spread.
Yeah, that's amazing. I would love a copy of your draft ebook if you have. I would love to read it and be the guinea pig to just, go through it, because it's something that I actually need to work on. So thank you so much, Colin, for your time today.
I'd be happy to do that. Thank you, Lynn, for giving me the opportunity. God bless.
Well, thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope that it has inspired you to consider how your business can make an impact in your community or communities around the world. Example, at Outsourcing Angel, our mission is to create steady and rewarding home-based employment for people in developing countries, but we also reinvest our profits to helping people living in extreme poverty with food and basic living essentials, as well as teach computer skills to disadvantaged kids. Now it's your turn. Love to hear from you. What ideas do you have? Let me know in the comments below, or ask me and Colin any questions you may have. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please check out my next video here.